Hello everyone, welcome to episode 29 of Twitch Tales, Beast Feast. What happened in last week's episode? Let's have a little recap. So we were on the road from Fondurg, not that we'd actually come from Fondurg. We were on the road from Fondurg with our new acquaintances, bandits turned allies, Morn, Oliver and Felicity. After slaying and capturing the manticore that was responsible for their enslavement. And we trundled on back into Shadridge. We met with Kathleen, the badger in charge of the Knights of Kvosna here, and told her the rundown of what had happened and why the supplies hadn't been coming through from Fondurg. We also ran her down on the fact that there had been a circlet of kind, a tiara sort of device that was hidden in the wool to be sent to Sally, that definitely had some sort of arcane flavour to it. And Felicity, being a member of the Arcanist Entente, was holding on to that, and we didn't fully trust her, so maybe she should look into that. We also told her that Morn was on his way here to be a farrier, a blacksmith who deals with horses particularly, makes horseshoes and things. And then we dropped off Oliver as a new recruit for the Knights of Kvosna, a prospective squire. Then we went around the village of Shadridge, delivering all of the supplies that had been long awaited. Various things to Lucille's shop. We took the manticore's body to we took the manticore's body to the cold room of Gretchen's cellar overnight while we rested, and then in the morning we took the manticore's body to the leatherworker in town, the tanner. We got him to skin the manticore for us, and he said he would do it for free if he could be a joint donor of this manticore's skin to the newly being built Menagerie just out of town. And we said, sure thing, me and you, we'll give this skin to the Menagerie, and it'll be an offering to Altames that comes from the both of us. We then went and grabbed the butcher in town and brought him across to where the manticore was being skinned, and we asked him, is the meat salvageable? And he said, absolutely not. It's been 2 days now, and it's kind of, if you wanted to eat the meat, you should have gutted it and all this other stuff. Preserved it in some ways. Meat is not usable, but the bones, I can. He said, can you take the bones out for us so that we can give the skeleton to the Menagerie as an interest, a point of draw. And he said, absolutely, if we can give it as the both of us, then, as a gift from the both of us, then I'll do it for free. And so we're like, sweet, got all these people working for free. It's almost like it's a frontier village and everybody has to help each other out in order to survive. So that's basically what we're doing. We left that with them while we went off to talk with Edith about the potential to make us some tranquilizer. We want a tranquilizer because what use is a zoo without any animals, essentially? So the menagerie that's being built has exhibits now. It has places, but without any specimens. So we said, as the best hunter in town, we will go and find some beasts to fill this menagerie with at some point. But being that we're used to killing our animals, when we hunt them, we kill them for food. We're not used to capturing live animals. So in order to do that, we might need to get better with the net that we have here, or we might need to get better with a tranquilizer or something like that, something to knock out an animal so that we can bring it back to Shadridge and put it in the zoo. So Edith said, yes, I can absolutely make you a tranquilizer, but I need these ingredients. And we said, we're on it. So the next day we spent all day out in the forest, out in the fair woods. We walked through the light woods, foraging lightly along the way. We got all the way to the sort of the denser part of the woods, past the goblin camp, but not quite at the Great Expanse in that sort of region. And we did some more foraging. Luckily, we didn't manage to get attacked by any of those vampiric twig blight things anymore. We narrowly avoided a combat encounter. And then we found all of the different ingredients we needed and headed back to Shadridge. And we got there just as it was going dark. And that is where we're picking up today. So, what do you guys, as Apis, want to do first as you arrive back towards the outskirts of Shadridge and you start your trek up the hill, the shady ridge on which it is built and after which it takes its name? Check if Edith's still awake and deliver the ingredients. Makes the most sense. How light is it? It is just about dark, and it is the end of the first month of spring, so it's still relatively short days, long nights. So the night probably gets dark around 6 p.m. or thereabouts. So it's probably about that. We've still got the evening ahead of us, but we didn't want to be out in the forest after dark, really, knowing now that there's all kinds of things that live in that forest. So Apis heads back, beelines for Edith's shop with their bee buzzing alongside them. The giant bee companion Mel buzzing along with us. And we sort of walk in silence, aside from the sound of our own footsteps up the hill and the buzzing wings, until we get to Edith's shop. And we see that, actually I'm just going to roll to see what's the chances that she's shut up already. Edith is getting on quite a lot in age, and she doesn't like to work too long hours during the day. What's the chances that she's awake? Oh, she is. Huh. Literally one under the DC that I gave it. So she is shutting up when we get there. Like as we approach the shop, she's like approaching the door to turn the sign around, and she sees us and she opens the door for us. Come on in, Apis, love. How are you? And then closes the door behind us and turns the shop sign around and locks the door with a little key. Puts the key back in her pocket. There's some clattering in the kitchen, and you can tell that Toria's still in with Edith and doing something in the kitchen. And she goes, "Come on in, Apis, love. Toria, Apis is here. Returned from what you were foraging with. Did you get those ingredients?" I did, Edith. I managed to get a decent number, actually. I wasn't sure, so I got the list of the ones that you wanted here. This, and this. So that should be enough for the tranquilizer. And she says, "Oh yes, if you've got all of those, that should be plenty. Let's see what you got." And you say, "I also actually got." So you mentioned Toria wrote down these other ones that you often use, common ingredients for this, and this. I actually got some of those as well. And so you lay out your bag. And you take out the ingredients that you found: the root, the leaf, the petals, the moss, a bit of everything that you found from your good day of foraging, and you lay them out. And you got a healthy supply of this bark. That's nice. And and the Simbatrin, you've managed to get some of this. And she's smelling it. And, that's yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Is that you're good there? And she's sorting it out and tears off little bits of the stuff that's not usable, obviously, and flicks it to the side to sweep up later. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll just get my in fact, bring it on into the kitchen, love. And she gets you to bring it all in. You head into the kitchen, and Toria's just finishing up. She's probably washing some pots. That's probably what she's doing at this time of day. She's had a day of learning from Edith how to brew certain things, and she's now cleaning the pots up. She turns and sees you as you enter the kitchen. "Hello, how's it going? Did you have a good day?" "I had a great day, thanks." And she goes, just on here, love." Puts a chopping board down, a wooden chopping board, and you lay out the ingredients on there. Edith gets a tiny little stepping stool. She's not the tallest lady, having had that sort of old age shrink, and so she stands up on this stepping stool and gets in. She's got one of those chopping blocks with the various knives in it. What do they call them? The knife holders. And then she sort of selects. She takes great care in selecting the exact right one. This one probably. Takes it out and starts to chop up some of these ingredients that you've done. "So, what do you what sort of day did you have, Apis? Tell me about your day." and we just general chit chat while she says while she starts to prepare some of these ingredients. Is there anything that we want to ask her about or talk to her about in particular? Are we staying long? Are we just dropping off the ingredients and leaving? What's the plan? You guys are apists, so you tell me. Are there any fancy tools in that knife block? Just knives. There's some fancy knives in that knife block. Did we? Oh, we did ask her about manticore blood, didn't we? And she said that she would test it today. So let's roll for her and see how well she did on testing whether manticore blood had any properties. Let me just set the DCs and things here. She would. Yeah. And then the DC of her knowing that is. Okay, she just got it, I think. What's her modifier? It would be a... Yeah, she made it. So yeah, we ask her about the manticore blood. We sort of chit-chat about the day, and then we say, oh, by the way, just remembered, you mentioned that you were going to look into the manticore blood and whether it had any use. And she says, oh yes, that's right. I did manage to find that it has a natural sort of... it has a natural antidote kind of a quality to it. There's a component within the blood that's good against certain poisons. So you can extract. So the blood would be good for extraction, because then you can use the and she gives some like technical name like the filament of there's a certain Santo there's a it's I can't like improvise some medical jargon right now, but she gives us some like jargon about like what part of the blood is good for a natural antidote against generic poisons, and she says, so I'd be able to make antidotes out of it. Distilling the manticore gin. And so yeah, we should be able to make an antidote or a potion that would help a person resist against poisons. Ain't gonna be much blood left in that meat pile to harvest though. No, but we do have a vial of it down there. Look, we have a vial of manticore blood in our inventory. No, she rolled well enough to tell that the antidote effect wasn't a product of it being in a health potion vial. She says that we ask her about that, and she says, no, I was able to, knowing that you said that there might have been a couple of drops of the health potion in it, I was able to take that into account in my testing, and I'm almost certain it was the property of the manticore blood that I think they're resistant to diseases and things. I think it's a product of them evolving out in the wilderness and eating all kinds of rotting meats and things. They survive on all kinds of materials, and then eating metals and things as they do. It would be quite easy for them to get some sort of tetanus, or she probably wouldn't know about tetanus, but it would be easy for them to get some kind of disease from eating rusted metals or rotten meats. And so I think that it's a natural product of them being quite hardy in their constitution, that their blood helps them to keep them safe from poisons. In mechanical terms, it means that she would be able to make a antitoxin. That's what it's called. A creature that drinks this vial of liquid gains advantage on saving throws against poison for 1 hour. It confers no benefit to constructs or undead. So she'd be able to make a vial of antitoxin from the vial of blood. Could she make use of it? Would she buy it off of us? She would. We ask her, so is this vial of blood that I've got of use to you then? Would you be interested in purchasing it? And she says, oh yes, yeah, if you're interested in selling, I'm interested in buying. Is there enough for her to brew to? No, enough for her to make 1 vial of antitoxin. 1 vial of blood for 1 vial of antitoxin, because it's not the blood that she's making into antitoxin. She has to it's like getting the plasma or whatever. She's getting like the white blood cells or something out of the blood. So she needs to like centrifuge it or something, distill it, whatever she has to do, take out the particular part of it that she needs, and then turn that into an antitoxin. So she says, I normally sell antitoxin for what would be a reasonable amount to sell it for the amount of work she'd have to do to make it. I think a reasonable amount is that she'd normally sell one for like 10 gold. Like 10 gold would be a decent amount, so like 8 gold I think. She says, I'd normally sell a vial of the antitoxin for about 8 gold or so. So having the primary ingredient for it, I'd buy it from you for I'd be willing to buy it from you for about 3 gold, shall we say? Is that an okay amount? Now, if you want to barter, you can sort of like roll a charisma check, a persuasion check, and see if you can get an extra gold out of her for it. But she's offering you 3. What do you guys think? Can we get some clean vials too? Yeah, we could barter in the sense of like we'll take the 3 gold and some clean vials from her. All right, most people say an accept. We'll take the 3 gold. We get some empty vials as well. I don't think I've got any empty vials, do I? But we can just remember. Let's everybody just remember we've got some empty vials for when we need it. She gives us, let's say 4 empty vials, I think, because glasswork in itself in a medieval frontier village is not cheap, and it's not easy to make. So just handing out vials willy-nilly is not exactly cheap either. So we've got 4 empty vials and 3 gold, and we hand over the vial of manticore blood that she can turn into an antitoxin and sell on. Should we dump some of our gold back at our secret tree? That is a good question, Cinderfingers. We are carrying a lot of gold. We're carrying way more gold than we've ever had in our life. We could probably do to visit our river bank at some point. We're clanking as we walk. We've still got 28 gold pieces stashed back at that riverbank as well. Casino? Should we go to the casino? Well, funny you should say that, Space, because the casino is actually a place of worship. So, who is it that it's a place of worship for? 2 different gods, Gladlix Felander and Heisgrerd. Gladlix Felander is a greater god of the Tempest domain, whose portfolio includes luck and fortune, and their symbol is a 4-leaved clover. And Heisgrerd is a much more evil god, and is the another god of the Tempest domain, whose portfolio includes chaos, randomness, rioting, and looting. His place of worship is a casino, and his symbol is a bone dice. So if anybody in Shadridge worshipped Heisgrerd or Gladlix Felander, then they would have nowhere to worship without building a casino. So they're gonna eventually, once this becomes a more prolific town and more people come here, and eventually somebody's gonna come here as a worshipper to one of those two gods, and is gonna be like, hey, I need a place to worship, and then they're gonna start a gambling house, which is gonna grow into a casino. So one day Shadridge will have a casino, just not yet. Down to 24 movement from the weight of all the gold. Each gold is like, what was it? Like, I think 50 coins is a pound or something. So we have more than a pound. We've got like 2 pounds of coins on us, which is actually, if you think about it, quite a lot of coins. That's like, we are really clanking as we walk. That's a big, heavy coin pouch. It's basically twice that, isn't it? I'd say that's like like a pound of this? Because if 2 pounds is just under a kg, this is just under half a kg, I'd say. Yeah. So that's like our gold pouch. How far away is our riverbank? So from here, I think it's like 2 hours into the woods, somewhere around that. Maybe I'll say like an hour. Oh no, from Shadridge proper, it'd be about 2 hours. It'd be about an hour from Jack Creed's farm. Which is about an hour's walk from town. So yeah, about 2 hours from here. It's like, by the time we've gotten to Edith's place and talked to her, it's probably 6:30, approaching 7. It's dark now. It's like the early night. We have today, rest of today, all of tomorrow, and then that's the end of the month. So all of tomorrow is the last day of the month, when the final preparations for Altames celebration is going to be happening. So what's the plan for everybody? What does everybody want to do? Buy a health potion, gets the gold gone. Yep, we could buy a health potion from Edith. I think she's probably been making some. How long do they take? Common, it takes a day to brew it. So she's got some on the brew. She's started making some, but she's not had the ingredients in abundance lately because she's been teaching Toria how to make potions, and Toria's obviously using up a lot of the ingredients in training how to prepare them and things. So she's got Prince Elf, but she's not got any health potions on her at the moment, but in a day she probably will. Like by the end of tomorrow she'll have some health potions. Might as well roll for it now to see how many she'll have and make a note of it. Alright, Edith, let's roll for her to see how many health potions she got out of one batch of ingredients. So first she'd have expertise with that, so she'll have to add another. Ooh, not great. Obviously distracted with she's obviously distracted with teaching Edith, so she didn't get the best out of the. I mean, still okay. And then she would have gotten, and then her brewing roll. That was just the preparation herbalism roll. So she was trying to make the most out of Toria's offcuts, I guess. And then brewing them into potions. What's her modifier? It's gonna be about that. Oh, even worse. Which is still enough for one potion. So she'll get one potion out of it, all of it. So this time tomorrow she'll have one health potion in stock to buy, and we can buy it then if we want. How much did the salve cost? I think it was around 20 gold pieces, wasn't it? Yeah, that sounds familiar. We also need to get our armor. That's one of the things that we did. We went to get our armor altered, and he told us that he's going to be he's busy with work over the next couple of days, and then the Altames celebration, so the armor will be ready in a few days' time, right? He said Carl gave us a date, said should be good by the 3rd of Altabris with making the manticore spike into a dagger for us, and making the manticore teeth into 20 manticore arrowheads. But Morn didn't give us a specific date for when he'd be done with our alterations. So we'll have to check on that. It probably won't be tomorrow, or the next day if that's the Altames celebration, but maybe the next day. I gotta love Edith's patience when it comes to constant late night questions. And Toria using up all of her materials. She's fine with Toria using as many materials as it takes because she's passing on knowledge, and she knows it doesn't come in a day. She remembers when she was young and learning about potions, and she probably wasted a shit ton of materials herself. Pre-order the health potion. Ah, yeah. Who wants to pre-order the health potion? Was Edith ever married? We ask her. We say, can I ask a personal question, Edith? Of course. Were you ever married? She says, oh, yes, I was. He was a strapping young man. He was, well, he would be an old man now, of course, wouldn't he? But no, he was a strapping young man. He was a member of the Knights of Kavosna when we were younger. He didn't make it back from one of his field missions, though, unfortunately. It was long before I moved to Shadridge. Lovely man, though. Lovely, lovely man. Such a sweetheart. We had a bit of a control issue at times, but it was always in defence of me, really. He never wanted to get on the wrong side of him if I was present. I heard he can have quite a patience when I wasn't around, but he never stood for anybody using bad language or anything when I was around. Were you blessed with children? No, alas, I was never. She gives the god, who's the god of fertility. Ferundri is the greater god, whose portfolio includes birth, conception, fertility, sex, lust, libido, and sexuality. Her place of worship is a brothel. Alas, no, Ferundri never saw fit to bless me with children, which is why I never really had anybody until now to pass my knowledge on to. As I say, my sister's granddaughter never saw interest in it. She's busy now with her carpentry stuff, I suppose, so that's fine. And she's talking about John's wife, Clarissa, the lady that you've met once or twice now. People's birthdays might be worth remembering for Apis' birthday. Ferundri has no specific holiday of the year, but people celebrate Ferundri on their birthday because she's the goddess of birth. What's Edith's birthday? That's a good question. Let me roll a d12 to see which of the months it would be. Let me roll Apis' d12. It would be the 6th month. The 6th month would be Hyphubris. And let's go a d4 and a d8 to work out which day. It's the 2nd week and the 4th day in, which would be the 12th. 12th of Hyphubris, you ask. When's your birthday, Edith? 12th of Hyphubris. Better write that down somewhere. Somebody's going to remember in 7 years' time when we finally get to the 12th of Hyphubris. Apis' 54th birthday on the 17th of Altabris. And Ferundri, her month, the month that celebrates Ferundri, is the 5th month of the year, essentially May. It's the month after Altabris, but before Hyphubris. What about Toria's birthday? She's sitting there chatting with us too. Yeah, let's just go through all of the NPCs and choose when their birthdays are. That's not a D12, that's a D20. Toria's is the 9th month, 1st week, 5th day. So the 5th of Chabris. 5th of Chabris is Toria's. Somebody can work this out, and somebody can write all this down and put it in a wiki page, because I'm not going to remember it all or see the need to write it all down. Hyphubris is Hyfu with an umlaut Bris. Chabris is how it sounds, Chabris. What about Trevor? They probably know the birthdays of everyone. Get out of the way. Get out of the way of the story. I'm not going through everybody's birthdays. You're looking forward to the celebrations, Edith? Oh yes, it should be fun. I always it's a nice little chance to relax every 4 weeks or so, to have a bit of downtime. Obviously the shops will all still be working, still be open, but open for business. But it's nice to have a little reason to let your hair down from time to time. And I always enjoy Altabris's celebrations, because it's like nice games and food and things. Everybody's birthday reminds me of every random NPC's backstory. Yeah. If I name him an NPC dude, he doesn't have a backstory. Don't bother asking. We should walk to every person in Shadridge and talk to them about their names, backstories, and birthdays. Yes. And then that's all we'll achieve for the entire day. What animal would you like to see the most, Edith? That's a good question. I've always been fond of dogs, but I don't really know. I feel like I've seen most animals in my time. Most animals that you'll find in the forest. I tell you, I haven't seen a hedgehog in a while. I do like hedgehogs. They're probably my favourites. Would Mel even have or remember or care about her birthday? No to all of those things. Mel would have a birthday, obviously, but she wouldn't remember or care about it. Tell her about the manticore skin. Yeah, we chit chat for a bit longer. Tell her about the manticore skin and the skeleton that we got, and talk about how we were donating it to the Menagerie, and Trevor and the butcher are helping us do that. Let's get a hedgehog for Edith. And what's your trauma? Do you have a locket? All right, so we talked to her for a good half hour or so more. Chit chat until like well after 7. She says, "Are you staying for dinner, Apis, dear? Toria was going to cook us something. Are you going to stay for dinner, or are you going to head off? It's late. It's after dark. Yeah, it's like 7:30 now ish." Toria's cool. Let's stay. Sure. All right. Most people saying yeah. Let's stay. We say if it's not an imposition, I'm happy to help with the cooking. And Toria says, No. It's fine. It's fine. I've got it. I can handle it. I can handle enough dinner for 3. You can. And you're like, all right, I'll just play some Panpipes in after dinner music. And she says, no, it's fine. We can just sit and read and talk. No need for the music. How's that social interaction meter going? That's up to you guys to decide, really. You're the one playing the character. So Toria, so we say, yeah, we'll stay for dinner, and we chat with Edith a little bit more, and we talk about how we used that herbalism book that we bought from her to identify some of the ingredients that we got, and yada yada. Ask her what sort of things she can make it from, and where she first learnt to be an apothecary, all this stuff. We should be okay in the social battery considering we're going to spend most of tomorrow in the forest. Yeah, probably. And we spent all of today in the forest as well. We spent all of today in the forest. Yesterday we did have a bit of social interaction, like asking people if they can help us with the manticore and delivering supplies and stuff. And the day before that we were on the road with 3 people. So, up to you. You guys decide. So what do you want to do while Toria's cooking, and are we just chatting with Edith? Is there anything else you want to talk about, or are we going to skip to the end of the day? Slowly pulls out the panpipes. You guys want to give it a panpipes roll? Did we pre-order the health potion? We can if we want. Put it. Let's say in the chat, put a thumbs up if you want to pre-order the health potion. If you want to ask her how much it is and buy it ahead of time. Put a thumbs down if you want to just be like, no, I'll come back and pay for it when you've actually got it. Most people saying yes, they want to pre-order the health potion. We ask her, at the very least, like how much the health potion will be. Now in the book, again, health potions are like 50 gold. In my world, they're like 40 from wholesale, like 25-ish from wholesale, 40-ish from retail. If you've got really good standing with the person, then obviously they might lower the price even more, yada yada. So she says, for the health potion, I'm going to be asking about 30 gold for that. It's pricey, I know, but I've not been able to make many, so it'll be a while before I've got a good selection of them, and I want to make sure that it's not being used frivolously. So yeah, health potions are expensive, and they are better than the Prince Elf because they are better than the Prince Elf. They will bring you up from conscious and just bring you back from the brink of death, and they'll heal up wounds which could otherwise be fatal and stuff like that. So because a health potion gives back 10 hit points, it's significant. 10 hit points is more than most commoners have in their total, their maximum hit points. So it's like a real like save your life potion. And if you think about how much a save your life potion would be in the real world, it makes sense that it's quite an expensive thing. We have Cure Wounds already, which does practically the same thing. But if we're out of spell slots, then having a health potion could be. So she's asking 30 gold. We could roll a persuasion check to see if we can bring her down on that. Why would she care how we use the potions? Because the thing is, they're in a frontier town, Explosive Cat, and she's the only healer in town. She's the only person who makes potions. And because she's not had the chance to make many lately, with her being sick and ill and then having to teach Toria and stuff, it's going to be a while before she gets to another one. So she doesn't want to sell it to somebody who's going to use it frivolously for relatively cheap, and then the very next day or later that same day somebody falls off of a roof and breaks their neck and they're about to die and they need a health potion, and then she's like, oh shit, I knew I should have held on to it. It doesn't buy potions from the elves when they sell other salves. She does, yeah, But those ones, if she's buying them from the elves rather than making them herself, then they're even more expensive because she's got to recuperate the cost of buying them, as well as getting a profit for it. So, thumbs up if you want to buy it for 30 gold, thumbs down if you don't. Alright, most people say no, we don't want to buy it for 30 gold. Thumbs up if you want to try and persuade her, try and roll a persuasion check to see if you can get her to drop any price. Thumbs down if you want to just leave it. I think it's roughly down the middle. I'm going to put it to a poll because whenever it's kind of down the middle like this, the poll can surprise. So just keep in mind that this is not a video game and your choices have consequences. So if you try and like haggle her down and you fail abysmally, then her opinion of you might drop. But if you try and haggle her down and are super successful, then yeah, she might drop a few gold off. What could be the discount realistically? Well, think about it really. If she's offering it for 30, what's the chances that she'll bring it down by 10%? What's the chances that she'll bring it down by 20%? She's not going to bring it down to 20, is it? Because that's 33% discount. So even if you're super successful with your charisma persuasion check, it's not going to drop down to anything less than like 25 probably. Meanwhile, I'm going to roll to see how Toria's done on this, on these checks. Toria. Have I got a D20 yet? Preparation. So she's not proficient in herbalism yet. Toria's dexterity would probably be that. So it's just a straight dexterity check. Brah. Oh, not good. Okay. I mean, it's not the worst. It's not the literal worst roll on the table, just one above it. So Toria got enough for a half batch at half potency, and then she would have had to. That wouldn't have been enough to make a potion out of, so she would have had to do it again with another batch of ingredients, which would be the last of Toria's last of the ingredients she's got. Ooh, better though. Yeah, not bad. Enough for a half a batch at full potency. So she puts those two together, she gets some potion that's just below full potency, if she can brew them correctly. Brewer's kit, she's not proficient in alchemist supplies. She is proficient with brewer's supplies, so she's going to use that, but it'll impose disadvantage on the roll. Oh no, because she's not using wisdom alchemy check. Wisdom alchemy, she's not proficient in alchemy. So she can't use the brewing thing. She's just got wisdom, straight wisdom roll. Toria would have. Ooh, nice roll though. Good number on the dice, helps out. Hey, nice. So Toria has enough for, that would be enough for 2 potions, but each potion is at less than full potency. It's about 3/4 potency, because she didn't prepare her ingredients correctly. Overwhelming no. 77% of you do not want to try and haggle her down with persuasion, so you just leave it. You ask her how much the potions are going to be, and she says it's the only one I've got, so it'll be about 30 gold for the time being until such time that we know that we're in a better place as a village. Obviously, we've got a lot of things have happened in the last few weeks, and so we want to make sure that I'm trying to stock up again. Toria says, "What about the ones that I'm brewing?" And she says, "Oh, I mean, if you're willing to sell them, we can put them on. I'm happy to use them as just like a training experience. But I suppose." And she goes, "Yeah, give me a second to see if I can." She hops off of her armchair and she walks through into the kitchen, and you hear her tinkering with something. There's a clacking of something against metal. Oh, okay, I suppose it's a little bit on there. That's what you're actually. And she comes through. Yes, actually, I think that's it's definitely improved on your last one. That's for sure. I think we'd probably get about the stuff at the bottom. We didn't stir it enough, Toria. You know how I said like on the hour, every hour, you need to give it a good stir. When you're stirring, you need to sort of give it a... I'll go over the hand motion with you. Remind me tomorrow, we'll need to go over the hand motions a bit more. You're not scooping enough at the bottom, and so the bottom of the concoction started to burn to the bottom. So we'll lose about... Unfortunately, we'll lose about half of the potion because of that. But I think we'll be able to save. I've just given it a good stir now, and I think it's about 2 potions or so of it, 2 vials. So I think it'll actually work. It feels a little bit weak. I don't think we put in quite as many phloem berries as we should have. Maybe just you know how we didn't quite get the juice out of that one. Yeah. I think we'll go over the juicing and we'll go over the hand motions tomorrow. But I think we'll get some potions that are worth it. If you were interested in buying those ones, Apis, we could sell those for less. I mean, if you want to sell them, Toria, just yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't expect to get anything usable out of it, so whatever you want, really. It says, okay, well, don't undersell yourself, love. You've put in a lot of work. You put in a whole day's work here. So I think the amount that they're worth, probably about 5 gold, I think we could probably get. So 5 gold for a couple of 5 gold each for a couple of low potency health potions. I'm going to buy 1, I'm going to buy 2. What do you guys think? Let me put that to a poll. It would give back 1d4 plus 2. Or if you take an action to drink it, it would give back 6. The maximum you can get from one batch of ingredients. So if you have all the ingredients you need, you make a herbalism check. If you get 28 or more on your herbalism check, you can actually squeeze enough for 2 batches out of 1 batch of ingredients. And then if on your brewing step you again get 28 or more on both of those batches of ingredients, you can get 4 potions out of each. So out of 1 batch of ingredients, if you are the bomb at herbalism and alchemy, and you happen to get 3 28s in a row, then you can essentially get 8 potions out of 1 batch of ingredients. But more often, you're going to get like 4 out of 1 batch of ingredients. Alright, 82% of the voters saying we're going to buy 2 potions. So we say, yeah, absolutely. You know what? That's fantastic. It's great that you're coming along in leaps and bounds, Toria. Just think what you'll be doing when you're actually super experienced in it as well. So we hand over 10 gold pieces. And we say, when they're ready, we'll come back and grab them. And again, hers will be ready tomorrow. She's been working on them through the day today, so they'll be ready at some point tomorrow morning, probably. So tomorrow we'll come back and get to half potency health potions. Can we keep standing order for ingredients for these guys? Just keep a general eye out for the things they need while we're out and about. Not quite how it works, unfortunately, Wraith. For balance sakes, for the balance of the game, in order to forage for potion ingredients, you need to set aside time to forage for potion ingredients. Foraging for food is different. You can just find it as you go. But foraging for potion ingredients, they're such specific... It's not just any old bark or any old moss or any old leaves or nuts. It's like specific things that you have to find that only grow in rare locations throughout the forest and stuff. So you need to set aside time that's like dedicated for potion foraging. First money Toria's gotten for potions. It is indeed, yeah. So we hand it over, and Edith goes to grab it, and she says, "Oh, actually, it's not mine, is it, Toria?" She says, "Oh, of course it's yours. It's your ingredients that I used, and your potion brewing materials, and your kit and things." She says, "Yes, but you put in all the work, so you grab it. It's yours. It's the first money you've made." And she takes the 10 gold from you, and then she splits it and goes, 5 for you, 5 for me. That seems only fair. Edith sort of refuses, but Toria insists, and it's that awkward. No, I insist. No, I'm not gonna. And she puts it on the table and says, "I'm not gonna touch it. It's just gonna 5 gold's just gonna sit there until you take it, Edith." Oh, you're so stubborn. Yeah, just like Jack was. And she turns and walks in through to the back of the desk and opens up a little cash box with another one of the keys. Puts the money in. We're the #1 supporters of Edith & Co. Herbalism Enterprise, that's right. First money that Toria's made through potion brewing. We got to be a first customer, that's right. Alright, so we spend the night spend the evening, with Edith and Toria. We have some dinner. What sort of things do you reckon we're eating? What's Toria made for us? Is it a stew? Is she making like a corned beef hash situation on pancakes or something? I remember eating those like really stodgy, thick pancakes with corned beef hash on it. Yum. Shepherd's pie. Ooh, a shepherd's pie, yum. Rabbit stew with carrots and potatoes. I don't think I've ever eaten rabbit. Probably will never eat a rabbit now that I'm vegetarian. Corned beef hash, yeah. It's like corned beef, which is like tinned shit. And like baked beans and I can't even remember, like something else all like mixed into like this almost stew like consistency, and then put it on thick stodgy pancakes. Yum. It's the meal of my granddad, that. Spam, eggs and spam. Anyway, so Toria, God, I'm bloody drooling now. Toria makes us some silverside with some spam and eggs and rabbit stew. After clearing up the kitchen and clearing herself some space, are we going to play the panpipes, or are we not going to play the panpipes? What do you guys think? We might be good at it for once. We are proficient in them. We are meant to have a +3 to our panpipes ability. I want to put this to a poll. It's so inconsequential, it's ridiculous, but I love it. Play the panpipes. Could be good, could be not. Yes or no. Whenever we're in public with our panpipes, so far we've had Ben luck, and they've been nat 1s, nat 2, nat 1, nat 3, nat 2. I think the most we've ever got in front of somebody was like a 4 plus our 3 for a 7. It was still not good. But if we never roll panpipes in front of people, we're never giving the story a chance to swing the other way. And Apis could never get over their stage fright. Ooh, 82% of people saying yes, we're going to play the panpipes. Let's do it. Skill, panpipes. 19! 19 plus 3. We've broken the curse. Hey! Apis feeling generally good about themselves. Finally not being in a situation of dire need of like people dying and being in a murder mystery, and there being shady necromancers around and a manticore that's trying to kill them. Apis has just finally had 2 days where nothing's attacked them and nothing has like tried to poison them. They had a good day of social interaction yesterday, getting people to take supplies off of their hand and to skin a manticore for free and all this other stuff. And now they've had a good day recharging their social batteries out in the woods, just foraging for things the way that their life used to be, spending some time with their giant bee companion. And then they made their way back and had a lovely chat and a lovely home-cooked meal with a friend. And so it's all coming together for Apis to feel like I'm feeling confident. So Apis rounds out the night with some very nice music on the panpipe, and Edith and Toria are very appreciative of your delightful music. Where are we going to stay the night? We're going back to Gretchen's, or are we going out of town and just camping in the wilderness? What weather is it? Let's have a look. I'll go, because it's spring, it's slightly more likely to be raining. We're on the shady ridge on the leeward side of some mountains though, so it's slightly less likely to be raining. So I'll give it there's only a 30% chance that it's going to rain. Let's say 25. There's a 25% chance it's going to rain. And I rolled a 12, so it's going to rain. As we're finishing our panpipe music and saying goodbye to Edith and Toria, we step out of the shop. Toria unlocks the door for us because Edith's gone to bed, and she says, "Come back tomorrow. The potions should be done sometime in the morning." So we step out into the light, drizzly rain, and thinking we're not gonna sleep out in the rain tonight. As much as we like the wilderness, it's never that fun to have to find somewhere to sleep, especially if it's already raining. We much prefer to catch it early and set up somewhere that stays dry rather than having to find somewhere that's already dry. So we head over to Gretchen's inn, and we're going to look at how much is it to stay here for the night. Normally we don't have to pay because we've given her something in return, but today we can't expect her to give us a place for free because we haven't done anything for her. So Gretchen charges 2 silver pieces for the night. 2 silver for the night. She can throw in some like a very modest meal for like an extra silver or so, but we've already eaten, so we're just going to go 2 silver. I will take off 2 silver. We have 1,000,000, so it's no big deal. And we sleep the night comfortably and soundly. Mel will probably stay outside. She's not worried about the. I suppose we could open the window for her, couldn't we? Yeah, we go to our room in Gretchen's inn, and we open up the window and allow a very wet bee to come in and shake off like a dog. And then she does a little circle, and then sits down and goes to sleep on the end of the bed. Fishlish is a snack. Not in this world, no. And we're going to have a long rest. What do you guys want to do in the morning when you awaken? She's bedraggled. Ah! Nice. Rain. Let's go rain. Rain. It rained, so the worms and stuff should be out, which means hedgehogs. Yeah. Cool. Would we know what hedgehogs eat? Absolutely we would, yes. We are a skilled outlander ranger that has survived in the wilderness for like 50 years. And we are proficient in survival and animal handling, so we would definitely have come across many a hedgehog in our time. The world is set in the equivalent of a fantasy time, medieval time, Great Britain. So hedgehogs are abound. So Apis wakes in the morning. What are we going to do for food? We're going to get some breakfast from Gretchen, or are we going to eat some rations? We're going to be out in the woods today looking for animals and looking for hedgehogs and things, so we're going to be able to replenish some rations. Do we want to have some rations, or do we want like a proper cooked meal? Get Gretchen from breakfast. Alright, getting decent breakfast from Gretchen. For a decent breakfast, she'll charge a silver piece. We sit down. We have eggs and some a meat steak, like a gammon steak kind of thing. We've got some beans, nice and hearty and warm. Fills us up. It's still light drizzle even in the morning. Before we head out for the day, are we going to head back to Edith's and check on the potions, and then go to the forest and look for a hedgehog for Edith? And then what's the plan for the day? This is the last day of the month. This is the 32nd of the month, and we have all of our spell slots back. Yes. So we're just finishing our breakfast at the Lucky Loot, the inn that we were staying at, run by an acquaintance of ours, a half-orc named Gretchen. She brings over our beans and eggs and gammon steak, and we enjoy that. And as we're mopping up the last of the beans with a bit of bread that she brings us, we think about what to do for the day. We have to go back to the apothecary and pick up the potions that we paid for yesterday. We have to ask Edith if she's finished those tranquilizers and how long it'll take, that sort of thing. we need to find some animals for the menagerie. There's also deliver a letter to Fondurg. There's check on the elves to see what's happening with them. A whole bunch of things you could be doing. What does Apis want to do? Felagund says we want to go trapping. Mythical wants to... No, Spates wants to check on the skin and bone tribute to see that they're going along alright. And then wants to go to the bank to save some of our money. Apis, I think, is getting used to Edith's hugs by this point. I don't think Apis is a bit of a hugger now. But Edith certainly is. We can get the potion things after looking for a hedgehog. Let's get out there, look for that hedgehog and other zoo creatures, check for potions later. Alright, let's give it a percentage chance that this rain's going to stop. Alright. So as we're finishing up, the rain ceases and it turns into just the dripping from the eaves and the leaves and things. So now it's just wet out without actually raining. A deluge, yeah. Not what I expected from drippy rain. So where are we going first? Are we going to find the hedgehog first? Is that the idea? There will be animal tracks in the mud today, yeah. Now that it's been rainy, it'll be muddy and it'll be easier to track. If we bring a hedgehog for Edith, she might be inclined to give us a discount. Hedgehog first? Most people are saying yes, let's go check for a hedgehog while it's still wet, because hedgehogs are nocturnal animals and they are insectivores, so they will be going to sleep soon, and they'll also have had their fill of bugs and insects and stuff whenever it was raining. All right, so we head out then. We go searching for some hedgehogs. I am going to roll for Apis. I'm going to roll a survival check. So these are Apis's shiny gem dice. You can see that over there, beep beep beep, we have a +2 wisdom and survival of +2 as well. And because we're going to be hunting in a forest and we're a ranger with a natural favoured terrain forest, you'll get another +2. So we're going to get a +6 to this roll. And we're going to see how easy it is for us to find a hedgehog. Roll, 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 go! Natural 20! Natural 20 +6. We step outside of Gretchen's house and there's like 100 hedgehogs just outside. No, seriously, we walk down. We walk 20 hedgehogs. We have a hedgehog army. The hedgehog comes to us. All right. Of all the times to get a nat 20, eh, and a +6. So we head off down the hill, slipping a couple times, and whoop, careful. Thankfully, we've got a dex +3, so we're nice and dexterous on our feet. We don't slip on our butt. We make it down the ridge that Shadridge is built on and into the nearby forest. And within the first 5 or 10 minutes, we've found a breeding pair, let's say. We've found a breeding pair of hedgehogs. And we sort of see the telltale signs of one being nearby, and then we can hear some scuffling in a bush, and we get real low. We get one of our arrows out, and we just sort of poke it through a bush and get real low on the ground, and we have a little peek, and yep, there's a couple of hedgehogs scuffling around, and they sort of scuffle over, and you can see that they're almost Lady in the Tramping, an earthworm, eating it up, nom nom nom, and you're like, oh, that's cute, and then and then at one point one of them sees you and just into a little ball, and then the other one, seeing them do that, goes into a little ball. What do you want to do? You found a breeding pair of hedgehogs, and they're very cute and well fed. Dig up a little pile of worms and put them in front of them. Animal handling. Do we just pick them up, name them, pocket them? Let's roll. We're really good at animal handling. Let's roll an animal handling check. Again, we've got a +6 because we're in a forest, and I'm going to allow it. Poke them with an arrow. 13 + 6, 19 on the animal handling check. That is good enough. 19 is definitely good enough that we do not freak them the fuck out when we grab a couple of earthworms that we can see in the mud next to our hand, and we like pull them out and trail them out in front of them like a little trail. Just stay there, and it takes a good like 5 minutes for them to come out of their little ball and to sort of cautiously look around. They sort of like all balled up, and then you stay there for 5 minutes and they can smell the earthworm that you've put there, so they kind of like start to uncurl themselves, and then their little cute little nose pops out. You can see it twitching, and then they scurry over and start nibbling at this earthworm that you've placed in front of them. And you kind of like put one in your hand, and one of them comes and nibbles from the hand. It takes a good you just stay here nice and quiet, and no rush to any of your movements, making sure that they feel safe around you. And it takes like a good 20 minutes or so from finding them to actually getting them like comfortable with you. How do you want to transport them? What are you going to do? Are you going to just pick them up, put them in your bag? What's the idea? How big are they? How big are hedgehogs? They're about that big. A rope. Putting a lead on a hedgehog. One of them sits on our shoulder as we parade back into town. Put him in a hedgehog pocket next to the horse pocket, of course. Use the net and a bedroll to make a makeshift bag. Yeah, we could do that. The net would have holes a bit too big for keeping a hedgehog in them, but our bedroll definitely would work. Wrap them in our bedroll, carry them back in our arms. Yeah, okay, let's do that. So we get our bedroll out, and not wanting to get it filthy in the mud, we're very careful about it. We very carefully, once one of them sort of nibbles from our hand, we kind of lift it up, and it goes into like a little bit of a scurry kind of a pose, but it stays on our hand, and we just place it carefully in the bedroll, and we go for the other one, which kind of like curls up into a ball again, but then it realizes that its breeding partner is not being injured and it's not in immediate danger. So we sort of take it again and nice and carefully take a good 5 minutes more to just like make sure that this second one is good with us, coax it out, put it up on our bedroll, and we've got it nice and soft. Got them all wrapped up nicely in a bedroll, and we start to head back towards the town. Only took us about 15 minutes to walk to the forest from here, because I don't know if you remember the map, but basically if you imagine Shadridge is down here in the middle, and Jack Creed's farm is up here, and there's like a forest line that dips down towards Shadridge and then up around Jack Creed's farm. So we went directly to the forest bit rather than an hour towards Jack Creed and then up from there into the forest. We just went into this little bit here. So we head on back. It takes us about an hour from having breakfast to going to the forest, getting a couple of hedgehogs and heading back. And that's what you get with a 26 survival check, I guess. Makes the journey nice and quick. Only 1 hour. Within an hour, you are back to the town. You have 2 hedgehogs. If you want to put them in the Menagerie, that's still like another half-hour walk away to Jack Creed's. I suppose then you wouldn't need to go to the town first. Let me show you the map, because then you can make an informed decision. So, here's a little outline of where we're at. So this is the immediate surroundings of where we are. Shadridge is this little frontier village here. Instead of walking all the way to Jack Creed's farm here, or to the there is a menagerie that's being built roughly here by this tree, I guess. There's a menagerie that's being built about here. We set off from Shadridge, went into this little woods bit area here, and then grabbed a hedgehog. So do we want to go like 15 minutes back to Shadridge and then 30 minutes out to the menagerie, or do we want to go directly to the menagerie and drop them off? Is the idea to go and show them to Edith first, and then take them to the menagerie? We're gonna have to make a choice in this, aren't we? All right, so we decided to go to Edith first with 70% of the vote. So we do so. We've got these little hedgehogs, all little hodge pigs, all in our bedroll, wrapped up nicely, and we walk over to Edith's shop, and we knock on the door. And she looks up from the desk. It's got the open sign on. You also notice that now that you've walked out of town first thing in the morning and back into town like an hour later, you can see that people are really going to town on trying to get the decorations of the town looking nice. Yesterday it was already starting to get all dolled up, but today people have really putting that last day of effort in. After the rain, a lot of the bunting needed to be replaced or to be hooked back up again and things. People are also, now that it's stopped raining and it's just wet and drizzly, so people are starting to put out their tables and their stalls and things, especially between Shadridge and the Menagerie, which you'll see, I suppose, in a moment. But first you head down to knock on Edith's door, and she looks up, wondering why whoever's knocking is not just coming in. And then she gets down from her desk and toddles over to the door and opens it up. Tring! And she goes, "Yeah, right, Apis, what have you got there, though, love?" And you say, "I've got a little surprise for you, Edith." And you pull back the cover of the bedroll, and you see two little hedgehogs kind of like curl away from the light. And she goes, "Oh, you are such a cutie. I only mentioned that to you yesterday. Toria, come and look what Apis has brought for us, love." And Toria comes out of the kitchen. "What's that? Are you back for your potions?" But I actually came back to show Edith this." And she comes over and has a little "Aww" over the hedgehogs. "They're so cute." And she Edith like gives them a little tickle to the nose, and then the hedgehog bites her finger off and blood pisses everywhere. No, it's just a cute little moment with some hedgehogs. And she says, "Oh, are these for the menagerie, love?" I thought that they might have like a little pen for them. I haven't actually been out to the menagerie myself, so I don't know exactly what enclosures they've got. And she says, "Oh, I'm sure John will be able to put something together for these little cuties. You only really need a crate, don't you?" She gives them a little scritch. How old is Edith? We've never asked, but from visual, we grew up with dwarves. How good at understanding human ages would we be? Let's make an intelligence check. It's like an investigation check, I think. 13 plus our investigation would be a 3, so 16. With a 16, I think we'd probably be able to determine that Edith looks to be around her late 60s, maybe 70s. But again, we grew up with dwarves, so we're not putting 100% accuracy into knowing that. So we showed off the little hedgehogs, and we sort of put them down, and they just snuggle up back into the darker part of the bedroll. And Toria says, "It's good timing. I think I'm just about done with the potion. Edith was just about to help me to tell me how to bottle them." And she says, "Oh yes, that's right. Sorry, I got distracted by hedgehogs." And she walks it off into the back room. "Apis, you can come and have a look as well if you want, as long as you don't get underfoot." And so you walk through into the kitchen just to be there while they bottle up, and you can see that the large pot that was bubbling away, sort of simmering while we were there last night, that's now empty in the sink, and there's another smaller glass jar, like almost like a glass cooking pot. And we can see like this light red potion in it. It's like a real light pinkish rosé kind of, and it's only about 200 mils or so. And then she gets we see as they get she gets out like a long, it almost looks like a soup ladle, but it's like really long and deep. And she gets that and she dips it into it, and she brings it out, and then she 1, 2, 3, and then tips it into a little vial. And then she does it again, but she sort of seems to wait for a second, and she's murmuring to Toria, and we're not picking up exactly, but she's giving Toria like instructions on like the correct method of like dipping and bringing out, because apparently like every little bit, as the little that we're picking up from overhearing these guys talking about potions, is that the amount that you stir it, and the different directions that you stir it, and exactly when you stir it, and all of this when you're making the potion, it can all change the validity of the potions and how many potions you're going to get out of it and stuff. And even to the bottling process, apparently that still pertains. So it's like she's given her like a wait for the vortexes to stop from the last one, and then you got to kind of swirl it counter to them if you want to speed up the process, and then she dips it in and she gets it out and into another one, and she looks and goes, you see, this is what I mean about and Toria's like, there's like just as much again in there still, and she says, yes, but that's not usable because now we can't bottle it in the same way. You see, if we were to get it down into the thing, then you're tipping the jar towards us. And you remember how in the first book I showed you about the geometry of the way that the different vortexes will swirl during the. She says, yeah, that's right, and it has to be circular. And she says, yes, it has to be circular. So we can't tip it towards us to get down to it. It has to be a circular base before we can dip. And so, and if we dip now, look, and she puts it in, and only like half of the vial gets down to the bottom, and so it kind of half fills up. And she goes, see, that's not a full potion, and it wouldn't have the same process. Like, you can try it if you want. And she goes, and she takes a sip of it. She goes, oh, it's got the taste, but I don't feel any of the. And she goes, yeah, that's right. I won't go into the specifics. It's very detailed, but yeah, this stuff is no longer usable. And so she takes it and pours it down the sink, and then she's got the two vials. She says, and you see how this one, if you let's go check that book again. And she hops off of her little stool and wanders. Excuse me, Apis, love, can I just get past? Goes back through to the kitchen, the shop area of the room. Opens up the book and shows Toria. So this one, look, if you look at against the colour grade chart in the back, and she turns to the back of a book, and there's a colour grade chart of all different shades of red. There's this one, you see, it's even lighter than this first one here. That's one of the ways to tell that it's not going to be quite as powerful as a regular sort of potion. But it's not bad at all for your, what's that, fourth time? Yeah, I'm actually, I think I've got a lot of it. It's good that you can see the grades because it kind of shows me how far I've got to go. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, Apis, here you are. Here's your potions. We just need to stopper them up properly now, and I've just got some corks around here somewhere. And she opens up a drawer. No, that's for the other size bottle. This one, and she gets out a couple of tiny corks and pops them in. She says, "Do you remember what I said about how to properly seal them, Toria?" And she hands them over. She goes, "Yeah, you need the wax, right? Do you?" Is it? And she goes, I've got it for you here already. Hands over like a sealing wax stick almost. They go and grab put it. It's like a really clear. It's a colourless sealing wax stick essentially. Goes and holds it over a candle and drips, and turns the vial as she drips. And she says, not careful the angle. Yeah, that's right. And dip, drip. And then she sort of rolls it as it cools, until the cork is sealed with wax around the top of the potion. There you go then, and hands it over to you. And you have 2 weak healing potions, which if I can find them in my inventory somewhere, I've got so many things to click on here. Inventory, items, healing potion, boop. Wait, where did you go, healing potion? And there we go. Healing potion. I should add a little 2 next to it, shouldn't I? Let's grab. Let's copy that and paste, and then I can drag you across here. Then I can rename potion number. And then I can push that down into items. Ugh, damn it. Control Z. Did not mean to do that. Bear with. Control. Paste duplicate, not paste reference. Wait, paste duplicate? Yeah, paste duplicate, that's what I want. I always copy paste the wrong one, and then when I change one of them, it changes both of them, which isn't what I wanted. And no, you do not have 8. Cheeky beggar. Rename. Potion number. And take that one down into my inventory and place it here. Cool, there we go. We've got 2 healing potions. We just need to remember that they are weak versions. They are 6 HP if you use an action to drink them, otherwise it's a 1d4 plus 2. Did we pay? Yes, we have paid already. She asks, we ask her while we're there, we say, Edith, I don't suppose you had a chance to look at the I always forget the word for tranquilizer for some reason. I don't suppose you've had a chance to look at the tranquilizers, have you? And she says, I have started this morning, but of course I had friends over for dinner last night, so I didn't have a chance. And she sort of like laughs at her own little joke. And so I didn't have a chance last night. So I've got to still some work to do on them. They'll be ready in a few hours, probably by noon or so. So she's still creating the tranquilizer for us. She's got it under work at the moment. She's only had like an hour or 2 to start it. From her perspective, she's your friend, yeah. So can we look for more animals and leave the hedgies here till noon? We could do, but we could also go to the menagerie and check out what sort of space they've got for animals. Or we could go straight back into the forest and look for some other things, like being that it's a forest in medieval England, essentially, you could try and find squirrels, hedgehogs, badgers, a variety of different birds, foxes maybe. There's probably a couple of, we've already seen a couple of wolves out there. Maybe some monsters like owlbears, displacer beasts, not minotaurs, manticores. We know those to be in the area. Boars, yeah, boars and deer, definitely still in the forest as well. Even one weir fox, yeah, we could put the weir fox in the menagerie, right? Can we find a cheeky little cherub, stuff that in the menagerie? Yeah, I don't think a wooden pen will keep him somehow. All right, most people saying go to the menagerie now. I think, am I right in thinking that? The little shit would drive all the menagerie goers away. Is the tannery on the way? Oh yeah, you could go to the tannery first, which is in town. It's on the other side of town. The tannery is over this sort of area. Tannery's like here, being that it's smelly and it wants to be a little bit out of town. The carpenter's place, John the Carpenter, is about here. I should probably put these on the map properly, shouldn't I? Menagerie's like here, and the butcher's in town proper. How long's it been since we left the Displacer hide at the elf village? It has been just less than 2 weeks. So we, from our count, he said come back in 2 weeks and it'll be tanned and ready for turning into a cloak at that point. And so at that point it'll be the 4th of Altabris. So the 4th of Altabris is when the Displacer's beast will be tanned and ready to turn into a cloak. And then he'll give it to the seamstress and the weaver and whoever else makes leather into cloak, the leather worker, I suppose. It'll take a few days to actually turn it into a cloak properly, and then once it's a cloak, it'll be ready to enchant. He'll probably give it to what's-her-face and see if she's powerful enough to enchant it. And that'll also take several days. So a long way away from having a displacer cloak as like a magic item. All right, so since the yeah, we can retrieve it very soon, like only 15 more sessions. Yeah. So since the Tanner is not on the way to anything else, but he is relatively close with us being in town, we'll head over there first, talk to Trevor, see what's going on with making sure that it's all going okay. And we do so easily enough. We set off from Edith's place. It's probably like 9 in the morning or so, because I imagine we got up about 8. Well, we probably woke around 7, had some breakfast, then set off, and I probably set off about 8. Checked out this forest for about 9. So to get back, talk to Edith, it's probably like 9:30. We walk towards the tanner's place, get there just before 10. It's only like a 10-minute conversation because we're just checking in to see that the skinning has gone okay and everything right. And as we get there, as soon as we get there, he's like, it's quite clear from that it's all done. What would you use Offal for in a frontier town medieval time? I don't know. Like they've got a whole pile of rotting meat and guts. What would you use rotting meat and guts for? Surely they wouldn't just let it go to waste. I don't think meat's good for compost though, is it? Bait? Oh yeah, fish. Oh, they're not a fishing town though. They're very far away from any fish. They could render some fat. Fertilizer? Does animal waste? Not animal waste. Does animal meat and stuff work for fertilizer though? There could be river fish, but there's no rivers nearby Shadridge. They use wells for their water. Tallow, swine, fat can become soap. I just feel like they would be doing something with the offal and the waste. No, meat doesn't work for compost. I know that much. So no, I don't know. They're probably just taking it. Probably feeding the pigs. Maybe the Colton farm have taken it. Feed the hogs. There you go, Multica. You and I at the same time. Actually, Melancholy Recollections already said it. Swine. There you go. So Colton's farm. They didn't actually have any pigs, did they? Damn it. Maybe they've got a pig. maybe they've got one since we were last there. They had a few cattle, a sheep, some chickens. I don't think they had any hogs, but I'm sure they would. I'm gonna say that the Coltons had pigs and we just didn't see them when we were there. Might be a hungry fox in these parts, a hungry weir fox. We arrive at Trevor the Tanner's just as Mary and Charlotte. They'd probably send their farmhand, to be honest. Let's say we arrive at Trevor's just as one of the farmhands. We haven't met them, but we recognise them to be one of the people who works with the Coltons on their farm. They've arrived with a cart, and they're loading up all of the disgusting meat and offal and stuff that was offloaded from the bones and carcass. And we ask Trevor about it, and he says, "Yep, it all went without a hitch. Got the skin off intact." Let me roll to see how well he did with the whole thing. Yeah, not bad. 14 plus his modifier. He definitely has expertise in it. So yeah, roughly 20 or so. He managed to get the whole thing off intact without damaging anything too much. Like there was a couple of nicks that he put in the hips and stuff, but nothing in the. He was extra careful with the front paws, the chest, and the head part, the mane, because that's the bit that most people are going to be focusing on. And it was all good. Would have been good bait for large predators. Yeah, we could take some as bait if we want to. While we're here. We're just going to be carrying it in our bag though. Like, what if we got to carry rotting meat in? It would probably ruin our bedroll if we tried to use that. I don't think we've got anything like... We could ask Trevor if he can lend us a bag of some kind to keep the rotting meat in if we want it for predators. Mosh bought them one with the pay since he ate one of their sheep. Yeah, that's what happened. He bought them a pig. What do you guys think? Do you guys want to ask this Colton farmhand if we can salvage some of that offal so that we've got something to use as bait for predators when we go hunting later? Put a yes if that's what you want to do. Put a no if you're not keen on that idea. It's literally one each here. It's literally right down the middle. I'm gonna have to put it to a vote, aren't I? Because it's gonna come down the middle here. 52% has it, with literally one vote in it. As per usual, once again, it comes down to one person's vote. Apis is in two minds about taking it, but ultimately says, yes, let's take it for the beasts. So we say, we turn to Trevor and say, excuse me, do you happen to have any like offcuts of leather that you're not using? Like something big but not too usable. I'd love to take some of that rotten offal and stuff because I'm going to be hunting for some specimens for the Menagerie later. And you explain the situation. He goes, yeah, I think I've got something. And he hunts around for it. What are the chances he's got something good? He comes back with a couple of pieces, but because by the nature of them being offcuts and not usable, they're either weird shapes or they're like they've got holes in them, or they're like thin leather, or the tanning process has like worn away a lot of the skin, the layers of the skin and stuff. So it's just like not the greatest. So we can take a couple of these things and wrap up some of this meat, but it's definitely not going to be airtight, and there's a good chance that like slime might start to seep through onto the rest of our belongings. So we then go over to the Colton's farmhand. Let me just double check to see if I actually named this person or not yet. All right, what's this farmhand of the Colton's going to be called? You guys get to name them. Victor, first one up. Victor. So we walk over to Victor. We walk over to the farmhand and we ask him, "Hey, what's Hey, you work for the Coltons, right?" And he says, "That's right." What voice should he have actually? Let me give you guys his voice. Mosh isn't helping them at the moment. He's helping to build the menagerie. Remember. What voice should this guy have? Slavic was the first up. Victor. Makes sense. Hello. He says, "That's right. I've been helping Coltons for a number of years now." You say, I've not caught your name, sorry." He says, "Victor, sorry. And what was yours?" You say, "Apis," and you give him a cordial handshake. He's a charming looking dude, and quite handsome. He's clearly the right sort of build for someone who does manual labour on a farm most days. He's probably about 6'1", and has curly brown hair and quite pale skin. Quite a large nose that's sort of like a hooked nose. It's too late. Trevor was already scouse. You guys were too late. Yes, it's nice. It's a pleasure to meet you, Apis. You say, "Thanks. I just need some of that. You're taking this to like feed the animals or something, right?" And he goes, "Yes, the Colton said that they might have use of it to feed the new pigs that Mosh bought them." Says, "All right, fair enough." There's a different guy there called Mosh as well. There's two different guys in town called Mosh in a village of less than 100 people. It's a very common name. Mosh was named for a reason, by the way. It was a very subtle clue to what he was. And Victor, we ask him about taking some of it, and he goes, "Yes, of course. You take what you need." And so he helps us to. Well, he gets the. We put the leather out, and because he's already wearing large agriculture gloves for not getting this shite on him in the first place, he offers to like actually scoop it from the cart and into the leather that we've got. And then we wrap it up a bit and try our best there. Squelch, stinks. Ooh, oh god, this reeks. And you wrap that piece in another piece of leather that's another offcut. And you're like, okay, well, this is as good as it's going to get. Aarakocra lineage? Not for this guy, no. Definitely looks human. He's very much on the tall side of human, though. It's unusual in this world for humans to get anything over 6 foot. Not unheard of, but unusual. There's Mosh, Moss, and Mosh, all working on the Colton's farm. So we wrap it up. We say goodbye to Victor. Another time, Apis. Goodbye. And he pulls up the cart and trundles off back towards the Colton's farm. And we are left with some offal in an awful blanket, an awful wrapping. We head back from Shadridge, from Victor's place into Shadridge proper. Did you guys want to visit the butcher for any reason? You wanted to ask him about like the skeleton and stuff, right? But has Victor got a locket on? No, Victor was he was bare chested with like an open vest. Been working hard all day, and so he was starting to sweat. So he's opened up his vest to let the cool air in. Victor's the farmhand at the Colton's farm, yeah. When's his birthday? Fuck off, Spades. You know, to check on the skeleton, you could have just asked Trevor if the skeleton was okay to save time. When you were asking him about was there any problem with skinning it, you also asked, were we able to get a full complete skeleton out of it? And he said, yeah, the butcher was. Can't remember what the butcher was called. what was the butcher called? Butcher, Quentin. Irish fella, Quentin. He says, yeah, mate, Quentin was able to get the skeleton complete. It looked really good as well. Like, after I skinned the head, it was quite gruesome. Managed to slough off all of the meat from the face, and was left with quite a grotesque skeleton. With the amount of especially with the teeth missing, it's really something. It's like a gummy, but it's got a bunch of holes in like rows in its jaws for where all of the different rows of teeth were. Gross. So we know that the skeleton was intact without having to talk to Quentin directly, just to save time. We head back into Shadridge proper. Do we still want to go and check on the skeleton personally, or do we want to head towards the Menagerie, or do we want to go hunting now that we're holding this disgusting Offal package? Go Menagerie and then go hunting. We've got to take the hodge pigs to the Menagerie at some point. We don't have them with us. We left them at Edith's place. The hedgehogs will probably not like the smell of this right now. No, probably not. Let's offload the hedgehogs before they smell the offal. We would have to take the hedgehogs with us, though. I can just see the facial remains, pissing myself laughing at a gummy, grotesque manticore head. Its head is mostly humanoid as well, so it's got like a flat face rather than like a lion's snout. So if you imagine like a lion's skull, but its snout has been pushed back into like a flat face, like a human, but it's still got the like huge canine teeth, or at least it would if it wasn't for the fact that they've been plucked out of the face. And then it's got shark-like rows of teeth, but all of the teeth have been pulled out or broken. So it's a disgusting skull. And if any of you want to draw it, I'd love to see an image of that. All right. So most people saying go to the Menagerie first. John is the carpenter. Yes. So we head to Edith's place. We say, right, sorry to steal them back from you, Edith, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to take those little cuties to the Menagerie now. She says, oh, right you are. There's the tranquilizer's coming along nicely, by the way. I'll have it done in about an hour, I think. I've done very well on it. So we pick up the hedgehogs from Edith's place, and we head on over towards the half-hour walk. So let's see, it would have been 10, quarter past, 10:30. It's probably about 11ish by the time we get to the Menagerie. We're about halfway towards Jack Creed's farm when we start to see it come into view. Oh, actually, sorry, retcon. On our way out of Shadridge, we see that there are a bunch of stalls being set up along the road. It's not exactly a road, it's not really exactly a path, but it's been walked back and forth so many times, especially like trundled by carts and horses and things, that there is the beginning of a natural path being made between Jack Creed's farm and Shadridge, and that's kind of what you've been walking every time you go back and forth. Along the road side of that natural sort of grass dirt path, you see that there's a few people from the town started to set up stalls and such. It's basically tables. There's a couple of areas where somebody's pinning something to a tree just off of the roadside. There's a few different places you recognise. There's a couple of targets being set up by Carl, the Fletcher / blacksmith. He's setting up a couple of things, and you realise that he's setting up like archery targets. So there's a few different events going to be on for tomorrow's festivities, it seems. And then after like enjoying this walk, like seeing, sort of speculating on what some of these things are going to be, you make your way to sort of up and over a bit of a hill, and you can see that in front of you there's this like permanent structure just off of the left of the roadside, where there's a bit of a circle of trees, just a very small, not even big enough to be called a wood really, but just like a little circle of trees, and sort of a semicircle of trees, I should say. And in the little clearing that makes between the trees and the road, that's where they've set up this permanent structure. And there's one that is fully enclosed by a wooden building. It looks to be hastily constructed, but well constructed. It seems like the structure that is there is strong and sound, but they haven't had the time to like put any
exterior daubing on it or anything like that. Any of the cladding essentially to the outside of the house has not been put on yet, but the actual physical foundations of the structure is there and pretty well constructed. There are also a bunch of pens out in front of it that are basically just wooden fences of various different sizes. And you see that they've utilized the natural topography of the land in that there is, at one point, there was like a huge dugout area from where something has come through many years ago in the past. It's all grassed over since then, but there's like a natural dip, a natural divot, and they have dug out the bottom of that even further, and then put a pen around it as well. So that one's more of a pit for looking down into. It looks like it's about 20 feet deep. You approach to see Mosh, Carl, Morn, and John all working really hard. They're working also with Darren, who is also helping them with physical labour, and they're continuing the work. They're moving things around. There's wheelbarrows moving. They're in a real rush. Everybody's clearly like, keep going, let's get this done. Like, we're running out of time for tomorrow's celebrations. We don't even have anything to fill these pens with yet. They're like, there's that sort of attitude happening. For something big and dangerous. Yeah, essentially the pit would be used for something that needed to be kept in a pit and couldn't be kept behind a simple fence sort of thing. So we approach and say, "G'day, pals. It looks like you've got your underway," and the rest of them kind of like look and give you the briefest of acknowledgements, but Mosh like double takes and oh shit, it's been a while since we saw Mosh. What was he? He was like a southern kind of fellow, wasn't he? Yeah, he had a southern drawl. He was Mosh. He was down here somewhere. He goes, Apis, good to see you. What you got there? We can't really talk too much. We're real busy, but you got something for us? And he goes, that's right. We got I found you some maybe the first. I don't know what you've got already. But and you sort of like glance across as you're now getting close enough to talk. You're also close enough to have a look in some of the pens. So there's a deer in one of the pens, and behind that there's something. There's evidence that something is living in the other pen because it's actually been given out already. There's already like a doghouse sort of a thing in the back corner and some fresh hay lying about it. And you can tell that they've obviously put in the things that you would need to put in for a real animal, like hay and a place to sleep, whereas the other pens that you're looking at don't have anything in them. So whatever it is in the little doghouse though. What was I saying? Mosh. He goes, so we look around, we see that it's not going to be the first animal they've got, but we say, we've got something for you here, and you take it over, and he goes, oh yeah, what's it? And we show him the little cutesies. He goes, oh, hedgehogs. I didn't think to... yeah, I suppose they can go in. Most people like those. We are actually setting up. Which one's kind of in charge of this? John's the one that's making most of it, but nobody's really in charge of the whole thing. Darren probably would be because he's the officer. He has a natural sort of authority to him. Darren, which one of these? It was this one that was going to be like the petting zoo area, right? He goes. Darren says yes. The one at the front that's got the two different gateways to get into it. He goes, yeah. This one over here, Apis, we'll put those in here. And he walks you over to a larger pen that's got much smaller fences, and there's like an airlock situation with the two different gates. You have to walk through one gate, and then you have to wait for that one to close before it's got the room to actually open the other one. And you have to kind of shift to the side, open one, and then open the other. It just makes it harder for animals to get out when people are coming in. And he goes, this will be probably where they live. I'm going to need to put something around I didn't think of something so small. You can see that the fence is it's got a little bit of a border around the bottom. But he goes, I wasn't really considering there's below the border, there's like a gap about yay big. And he goes, hedgehogs could probably fit through there. We might keep those in a pen to themselves. For now, I guess we'll put them in a crate. I got a crate that I was using for the animal feed this morning. I'll be right back. And he runs over and he just vaults over one of the fences and he sets off into the actual enclosed building. Comes back, comes rushing back, and he's got like an empty crate under one arm, and he vaults over and he goes, "You can stick them in there for now. I'll put some hay in." And he turns around and vaults over the fence again. "Give me a second." Comes running back, and you can tell that he's just kind of flustered. There's just like a kind of manic atmosphere to all of the building that's going on here. He comes back and he's got like a handful of hay, and he stuffs it in the bottom of the crate, and he goes, "You can stick them in there. I think they'll be fine." Do they eat hay? Hedgehogs are more like insects, right? Insects and worms. We did get a supply of worms delivered. Where would I put those? I'll go get some food for them. Have they eaten? And you're like, it's all right, pal. Just tell me where I can find it. I can do it. They've already eaten today, and they're nocturnal, so they wouldn't be. And he goes, "Oh, that's right. Hedgehogs are nocturnal, of course. Put them to sleep in here. I'll deal with them before the end of the day." So we place the hedgehogs in this little crate, and then we place the lid of the crate back on top, so that it keeps it nice and dark for them, and they're not likely to be too disturbed. And then we move the crate over to like the far corner of the petting zoo area, just so that they're furthest away from where all of the building noises are happening. Give the hedgehogs a little scratch before we go, yeah. And then we somebody wanted to ask, does he have another crate for us to keep the disgusting meat in? You can see that Mosh has like crinkled his nose, being that he's a werefox. He has keen smell. So he's like, he hasn't said anything because he's a little too polite for that, but he definitely has smelt that we're carrying some sort of disgusting offal on us. Rabbits would be another good addition. We know where those are. Yeah, we could definitely bring them some rabbits for the. That's what they're expecting for the border around the bottom was basically to keep rabbits in. It wasn't all the way down to the floor, because rabbits can't fit through a gap that big, but mice and things can. So they were like, the rats and shit will get out. They'll come in, grab some food, and then leave. But they were like, if we can stop the rabbits coming in. But now that you've got hedgehogs in there as well, they might have to add an extra bit of wood or move that border down so that they don't allow the rabbits to get out, the hedgehogs to get out. So we say, right, just get back to work. It's fine. Should I be getting more animals for you? And he goes, yeah, if you can get animals, we definitely need them. We've got not much in the way of tributes for Altames at the moment. We could do with something, anything, rabbits even. We're hoping to get some rabbits for the kiddies to play with in here. Anything in particular you wanting? He goes, we've got a room for wild boar. We got some, like if we're really running low, Coltons have said that we can borrow a cattle or something just to have something here. But if you can find more deer, this one's going to be lonely, just the one of them. It'd be nice to have a couple. So deer, boar, badger. Oh no, we've got a badger already. Maybe another badger for that guy. We need rabbits, squirrels, I guess. Cute things. I don't know. Do you want a sheep, pal? I don't know. If you find anything, I heard like the manticore you found. Like if you find anything like that about, then you can take it down without killing it. That'd be pretty sweet. Obviously, we'd have to find a better place. Birds. We got the bird house. He points out to the big enclosed house that he keeps running into. There's an area in there that we made for birds to hang out in, that they won't fly away. So like if you find any birds that we could take those. How about goats? Yep, wild goats. It'd be great for the pet and zoo part. It seems like they're kind of just making this up as they go. No problem, Mosh. I'll just bring you a live manticore. Yeah, easy peasy. Basically, anything and everything that you can give, they'll take it. By the looks of it, they've got 2 hedgehogs, a deer, and a badger, and maybe a couple of birds. He wasn't clear on that. So, like, anything else that they've got, and if they don't have anything by tonight, then the Coltons are going to bring over a sheep, a cow, and a pig or something, just so that they've got something in here. Maybe a chicken. I'll say that the Coltons probably would have already brought over a couple of chickens, so they probably the petting zoo area that you're already in with the hedgehogs. There's a couple of chickens clucking about in the corner. They have bags for small animals or birds. They have sacks. So you ask, all right, let's I can do that. Have you got like spare sacks and crates and things that I can find these animals, bring them. And he goes, yeah. A whole bunch of hay was delivered and a whole bunch of animal feed. We got empty sacks and crates just inside. If you can help yourself. And he points to the bird house inside. Cottons have chickens left after Sally raided them. That was several weeks ago, Sparrow. They've managed to raise a few more chicks since then. And Sally only took 3 to kill them for her ritual. Dig a 3-meter hole, cover with sticks, and leave a bait on top. Might be able to get something big. Digging a 3-meter hole isn't the easiest thing in the world to do, though. That's a hell of a sized hole. That would take all day to dig. All right, so we rush off to the bird house, and we push through a door. We push through a human-sized door, and we can see that on the inside is it's just a very large, tall house. The entire building there's only one floor to it, and the ceiling is probably about 30 feet high, and all over it there's just a bunch of shelvings on the walls. There's a bunch of like ropes that lead between the shelves. There's a few like logs and stuff pushed up against the corners. It's been turned into like a walk-in aviary where they haven't had a lot of time to put into like making it look nice, but there's plenty of perches and sticks and branches and things that are nailed into the walls to make it kind of look very vaguely like a forest canopy, and the birds are likely to just be above you, and then the floor of it is just like a thin layer of hay and straw. But over to one wall is a whole bunch of crates and sacks that have been delivered. If needs the channel in a Disney princess. We need rabbits in the multiple, squirrels in the multiple, 1 badger friend, 1 deer friend, 2 boar maybe, birds in the multiple, and 2 goats at least. I think it's safe to enlist Mosh at this point. You reckon? You don't reckon he's too busy? So we walk over to the dwarves are good at digging. Yeah, dwarves probably are good at digging, but doesn't speed up the process. They're just good at it. We walk over to the crates and stuff in the corner and open them up till we find a couple that are empty. We've got a couple of crates, a couple of empty Hessian sacks. What do you guys want to take? So we take a couple of bags and go off for animals. Is that the idea? Double bag our chunk of offal, first step. Yeah, okay. First thing we do is we offload the offal into one of these empty Hessian sacks. It would take you 3 hours to dig a 3-meter hole if you have a digger bar, a 2-meter iron bar, and a shovel. What the hell's a digger bar? How are you digging a hole with a 2-meter iron bar? It breaks up hard soil. Oh, cool. So you just dig in with an iron bar until it all loosens up and then shovel it out. Well, I'll defer to your judgment then, Kelso. It would probably take Apis about 3 hours to dig a 3-meter hole then. Probably longer because Apis is only 4 and a bit feet tall, so they'd have a hard time getting up and out of the hole, and once it gets past that. I don't think we'd be able to carry more than 1 crate. It's not like we can put it in our inventory. It's not VLDL. It's not just like blink and then you've got a crate. This is the real world where you have to actually carry these things. Crates stack. Carry them all neatly. I refer back to the fact that Apis is 4.5 feet tall. So Apis takes 1 crate, puts in 3 empty Hessian sacks and a Hessian sack with offal in it, and they turn and they go hunting. And they say, "Hey!" As they leave, they wave to Mosh and say, "I'm off to go hunting. Then let's see if I can catch you some things. Well, you have somewhere to keep them, and I'll have something for them. I'll have somewhere they can go." And you set off out into the forest, or are you heading off back to Shadridge to get your tranquilizer first? Do you want to go hunt some relatively easy things to hunt? Take those back to the Menagerie, then go to Shadridge, get your tranquilizer, and hunt for something more dangerous? Or what's the idea? What's your plan? Because if you get something more dangerous, then you're going to have to carry a crate, several bags of animals, all at once. Like, you're going to need to do trips and things, aren't you? What's the plan going to be? Can we get the little easy ones on the way to Shadridge? Like in the woods on the way? It's not really wooded on the way. There's a few like spots of trees here and there, but it's not the sort of thing that would have... I mean, there might be some birds around. Let me have a look for birds on the way back to Shadridge. There wouldn't be badgers or squirrels or deer or boar on the way or anything. But let's do you a survival check to see if you can see any birds on the way. What sort of wild birds are there in Great Britain, everybody? Wrens, blackbirds. Most people were saying yes, go back to Edith's to pick up the tranquilizer, so we'll go back to Edith's pick up the tranquilizer. Robins, magpies, crows. Survival check. You do not get your +2 bonus. Oh no, 4. It was almost 11. It went 11, 4. 4 + 2 for wisdom, 6 plus another 2 for survival is 8. With an 8 in survival, you do see some birds on the way back to Shadridge proper. But you see blackbirds, you see a thrush, you can hear some, let's say, some swallows or something. Sparrows! Of course sparrows. You see some sparrows for sure. But they're all up in the trees and hard for you to get to, and they'll fly away much before you get there and stuff. And so you're like, oh well. So you don't manage to catch any birds on the way back to Shadridge, but you do get to Shadridge. You go to Edith's place. Because it's a half an hour from Shadridge to the Menagerie and a half an hour walk back, obviously, and you spent a little time in the Menagerie. It's been over an hour since you left. So 11. It's like noonish. It's just after noon when you get back to Edith's shop, or just before noon. Can't remember what I said. It doesn't matter. Retcon. It's about noon when you get to Shadridge, and as you arrive, Edith says. You're just on time. You've got a knack for being on time, haven't you? I was just telling Toria here that I think the tranquilizer's only about 5 minutes to go. It's just on the simmering stage at the moment. The cooling stage. So I've boiled it down, and and she starts to launch into like the specifics of how she made it, which most of it just goes over your head. And now it's now just cooling down, and then it'll be right to apply to any sort of how do you intend to administer it? I'm actually going to roll to see how many uses you can get out of it, because I assume you're putting it on your arrow tips, right? And it's like a shoot it, and then tranquilizer goes down. Where are you, love? You are herbalism kit, so she's got this, she's got that. Not the worst, but not the best. She managed to turn the ingredients you got into enough for one full batch at full potency. And then she uses that batch, and she goes, brrrr, that was a cock, and that was slightly worse. So she's only going to have enough for one arrow, unfortunately. One arrow of tranquilizer for you. So you can have one tranquilizer arrow. I should put another number here. We've got one fire arrow, one trank arrow, and 20 regular arrows. Yeah, I rolled a 3 on her brewing check, which thankfully she's got a hell of a modifier, so that took it up to being usable still. But it was not the best. And it'll basically work like a sleep spell, a first level sleep spell. So if you do an attack with this is how it's going to work mechanically. You do an attack, you do the damage that you would do with a normal arrow. So if you've got Hunter's Mark on, you do the extra Hunter's Mark damage. If you've got your if you use your Planar Warrior, you do the extra Planar Warrior damage. All of that sort of thing. You calculate the damage as normal, and then you roll 5d8. And if the creature has fewer hit points than that, then it goes down. So essentially, your average... I've worked it out before for the sleep spell. There's like a 50-50 shot at the 23 hit point mark. So if you get the creature down to less than 23 hit points with the final strike of your arrow, and then you roll the dice, then you've got like a 50-50 chance of it going down and going to sleep. Obviously, if you get it down to like 15 hit points or less, then it's almost guaranteed that they're going to go to sleep. But if you attack a creature and even with your arrow damage, it's still got like the high 20s or like early 30s, then it's unlikely that you'll put it to sleep. Yeah, it's been a while since Edith brewed tranquilizers, yeah. Would you know the rough estimates of common animals like boar and deer, etc.? Yes, we would. You'd know that most of those can be taken down with a single arrow if you shoot well enough. So you can, even without doing damage, you'd be able to put a regular boar or a deer to sleep or something. But you have fought an owlbear and a displacer beast, both of which were significantly tougher to take down. You have to Pokemon them, basically. That's exactly it, Mythical. You need to get them as low as possible without killing them. It's basically exactly Pokemon. You've got to get them low enough that the tranq will work to put them to sleep without killing them. You gotta time it right. It's going to be a very interesting time to use that potion, to use that tranq. So we get the tranq from Edith, and now we're going hunting, correct? How long are they asleep for? Technically, it's like a minute. I think it can be over that, like 10 minutes, let's say. But you've got enough time from them going to sleep to then go and hog tie them. But they won't necessarily be asleep for the entire duration. You'll like, if they take any damage, they'll probably wake up again. If we shot them, do they restore all the? Yeah. So if anything that doesn't die outright, if anything's still got a hit point, by the time it then takes a long rest, it'll recover all its hit points like we do. And I'll assume that Apices, whenever you're shooting the thing that you're intending to keep alive, then you're trying to shoot it in areas of the body where it will heal its wounds. Mel also has her sleep ability, yes. So you can try and hunt for something with Mel. Alright, so how I have planned for you to go hunting for these creatures is that it is now noon, meaning you have about 6 hours before the sun goes down. How I've planned to do this is you will, if I can zoom down to here, you will make a survival check. You will decide right now how many hours you're going to spend hunting for something big. You're ideally going for something big, right? With your tranquilizer arrow. How many hours are you going to spend hunting? That will give you a bonus to the survival check. Then you're going to roll a survival check, and depending on how high that is, it depends on what's the biggest thing that you find while you're hunting. If you roll anything less than a 6, you don't find anything at all. If you roll between a 6 and a 6 and a 10, you just get like one regular beast, like a boar or a deer or something, a badger. If you get 11 to 15, it's something else. 16 to 20, it's something else. If you get 21 to 25, it's something else. And if you get a 26 or above, it's something else. So, how much time do you want to do it? It's noon, meaning you have 6 hours of the light left, but you could spend more than that if you wanted to risk random encounters and stuff. Lots of the hours. We might get something diurnal. Yeah, we might get something diurnal in the day. We might get something nocturnal or crepuscular if we go into the night. Does the part of the forest we're hunting make a difference like it did with the potion ingredients? Not really, no. With the things that you're gonna like, it's basically you're gonna roll, and then depending on what you find, that will dictate what part of the forest you were in. So you're gonna just keep hunting and stuff, and then if you find something that like only exists in one part of the forest, I'll be like, okay, you must have been in that part of the forest. How many hours are we hunting for? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus. If we hunt for 8 plus hours, anything more than 8 hours of hunting, we're going to start making constitution saving throws against exhaustion, because we've already been up and about and like hunting and like visiting people, dropping off animals and things for a good like 4 hours already today. So working for another 8 hours takes us to 12 hours that we've been working or hunting or doing something extraneous. After 12 hours of doing something, it's like you're getting into exhaustion territory. All right, 47% of people saying 7 hours to hunt for. So we'll lose 4, 8, and 6, and we'll put to the vote 7 or 5. Ask the god that we're honouring how to honour him best. That is actually a genuine thing that you can do, a genuine idea if you want to, Bread Tom. You can do a religion check to know how that god likes to be worshipped. And then you can, if you roll well, then it's you remembering things about how that god likes to be worshipped. We want to do that. All right, let's do that. Let's make a religion check. Religion. We are not proficient in religion, as you can see over there, but we do have a +3 intelligence. So let's roll a straight intelligence check. Intelligence check. Dice. 16. 16 plus 3 is a 19. A 19 for your knowledge of what sort of rituals there are around Altames. You remember, especially as a bit of a hunter yourself anyway, that the act of hunting is a form of Altames worship. 63% of you say we're going to go for 7 hours. So Apis sets aside 7 hours to go hunting, which is going to give you a +4 to your survival check. It was basically a +1 to your survival for every 2 hours that you went hunting, rounded up. So you managed to get a +4 to your survival check that we're about to roll here. We are proficient in survival. It is a +2 wisdom, a +2 from your survival, and a +2 because it's in a forest. So we are going to get a +6 plus the 4 from hunting for so long. We're going to get a +10 to this roll. Oof, +10. You could actually get the +10. All right. So you need if you get a 16 or more. Oh boy. Here we go. Dice cam. Survival check. Go. 14. Holy shit. 14. Do you want to use your inspiration or lucky horseshoe to reroll that and see if you get any higher? Keep in mind that using the reroll now means you cannot use it in the acquiring of of the thing. I feel like this is important enough that I'm going to actually have to put it to a poll. Boom. 57% has it. We are going to use our inspiration to reroll that. Using the inspiration because it's worse than the horseshoe, generally speaking. Wait, almost rolled it without a dice cam. Can you see what that is? It looks a little bit out of focus. It is a 16. Holy shit. Okay. Oh shit. Okay. It's a good thing you get those healing potions. Alright. So 16 plus 2 from wisdom takes it to 18. 2 from survival takes it to 20. 2 from being a forest bonus for being a ranger takes it to 22. And then another 4 for hunting for 7 hours straight. And you get 26. With a 26 plus, you are hunting for a good day. It's a very good day. What are we on? 3.5 hours. Perfect cliffhanger. We're hunting for a good 7 hours of right through the daylight. During that time, we managed to find a badger that we managed to animal handle it into a crate. And then we can't hold that crate with us, so we just sort of put some food in there for it, close it up nice and tight so it ain't going anywhere, and then leave it in a bush that we know where it is, nearby where we came from. With a 26 survival, we also managed to climb up a tree and get managed to capture real quick a real nice looking, let's say what are some of the birds again? I'm really bad with birds. You managed to find some tits, put them in a sack. You managed to get a couple of sparrows. You get some you get a lyrebird. I don't think lyrebirds are in the UK, are they? You get a hawk. Yeah, fuck yeah, you get a hawk. And you find a sleeping owl. Managed to get an owl in there as well. Yeah, let's go. So we've got all of our sacks and our crate stuffed up now. We then get deeper into the forest and we realise that all of our sacks and crates have been stuffed with birds and left at various parts of the forest where we can find them on the way back out of the forest. Really bad with birds. Story of my life, mate. I'm really bad with birds, mate. An osprey. Ooh, have you found an osprey? I don't even know what an osprey is, but I've heard of them. They sound cool. Well hidden. Yeah, we've left them well hidden. It was a 26 survival, so you don't worry about it. You're going to get those birds back. You've left them, and now because you've got no sack, you've got no crate, you're left with the offal back in hand again, and you're like, right, I think it's time that we go for the big thing. We need to find whatever this big thing is that we can put in that pit. Let's see if we can find an owlbear or something. And we go deeper into the woods. We know that by this point we are well past even Winglofau, and we are getting towards the area. We're probably even past the area where we were attacked by the blights, and potentially even past the area where we lost the trail to the I almost said what it was. We lost the trail to the armored individuals that were heading into the Great Expanse. So we know that this is dangerous territory, but we feel we're ready for it. And we're looking around for the tracks and things. And we find some. We find some tracks that look almost humanoid. They look almost like humanoid feet, but they're quite big. They look ape-like. These are definitely primate feet. So we keep going. We follow them. We think whatever this is, it's either a sentient humanoid creature, in which case we probably should know where it is, or it's something animalistic that has an upright gait to it. There are times when we follow this track to the point where we find an abandoned sort of campsite, and we can tell that this thing was sitting down and devouring something smaller, because we find the bones that were left behind discarded. I'm going to roll a stealth check now to see if you can find this thing without it finding you. 11 plus your dexterity of 3 takes it to 14, plus you can see over there we are proficient in stealth, so that's another 2, takes it to, what did I say, sorry, 11 plus 3 is 14, plus 2 is 16, and because we're in a forest I will allow another 2, so that's 18. 18 stealth is pretty good. So we follow these tracks for another like 20 minutes or so, and we're getting, and it is, the sun has set now, and outside of the forest it might still be twilight, it might still be sort of visible light, but underneath the canopy of the forest it is now dark. Thankfully, as a dwarf, we have dark vision, so we can still just about make out these tracks and things. And as we track it to the base of a large tree, we can hear a and we can realize that this, whatever it is resting just on the other side of this large tree. So we draw an arrow out, knock it in our bow, and around the side of the tree we see a huge bipedal simian. Must be probably around 8 to 9 feet tall if it was standing, but it is currently sleeping, sitting against this tree, or at the very least resting. You're not exactly sure because you've never seen it before. This is a Sasquatch, and that is where we're going to leave it for today, with a fight with a Sasquatch, and see if you can bag and tag and drag it several hours back through this wood. Sasquatch! See you next week. Bye!